A comparison of ambient casino sound and music. Effects on dissociation and on perception of elapsed time while playing slot machines by Theodore J. Noseworthy and Karen Finlay for Springer Science and Business Media. This research article presentation is presented by Jose Luis Soto on September 29, 2018 for UNLV professor Paul Pippins, class MHA618. Problem statement. Slot players are known to lose track of elapsed time while playing slots in the casino. The ambient casino sounds, with or without music, could influence perception of elapsed time and dissociation. Slots machines' multiple features could influence players' time perception. Latency of response is the level of confidence that a player estimates the elapsed time play. Could sound be used to induce slot players to increase their length of slot play? Slots inebriating magic formula. Recipe for a problem gambling hangover. The casino decker, designs, sounds, lights, floor layout. The slot machine's intermittent pattern of winning. No skills required to play slot machines. Attract a lot of new gamblers. The speed of play could lead to a problem gambling behavior. Easy access to cash funds throughout the casino makes it easier for the players to get funds to continue playing. Slot machine features encourage extended play, like the music, the lights, all that can contribute for the player to continue playing. Betting patterns induce to a kind of high. Multiple ways to win creates an illusion of controlling the outcome. Machines that give 5, 7, 9 lines. The player could think that by alternating bets, he could control the outcome. Dissociation among slot machine players. High degree of direct attention lead to mental exhaustion. Difficulty in concentrating could lead you to be prone to be impulsive and impatient. That could lead you to make the wrong decisions as far as betting more than what you should. Addictive patterns of behavior leads to distortion of reality, even to the extreme that you could get like amnesia. Problem gamblers tend to lose track of time. Combination of many betting lines, loud sounds, and flashing lights could lead to a distortion of reality and a trance state. The structure of sound and its relationship to problem gambling. Slot machine sound could contribute to gambling addiction. Ambient casino sound increase the potential of disassociation from reality. Slot machine technology makes them visually attractive, fast, providing frequent wins, exciting lights and sounds. contribute as well to this problem. Adjustment in sound volume and tempo in harmony with rate of winds and rate of play. Casino ambient sound inhibit the awareness of the passage of time. Music help players keep track of time through meter and rhythm. So when music is added to casino ambiance, the player stands a better chance of keeping better track of time and be less dissociated about it. For the purpose of this presentation, we're going to cover the two supported hypotheses. That means the two hypotheses that were validated in the experiment. The first hypothesis talk about estimate of elapsed duration will be more accurate if a player is exposed to slow tempo music with ambient casino sound rather than a fast tempo with only ambient casino sound. In contrast, no difference is expected in estimates of elapsed duration between the slow and fast tempo conditions for casino ambient sound alone. So what that means is that when the player is exposed to music combined with a casino ambient sound and the tempo of the music is slow, the player will be able to keep better track of time. And when the player is exposed only to casino ambient sound, whether the tempo of that sound is slow or fast, he won't be able to keep track as well of time. He will be more disassociated from the reality of time or elapsed time. Let's see the second hypothesis. Dissociation will be higher for individuals in ambient sound alone condition who make less accurate, that is shorter, estimates of elapsed time while gambling than will dissociation for individuals in the ambient sound alone condition who makes more accurate, that means higher estimates of elapsed time while gambling. In contrast, for the music with ambient sound condition, the higher the score in dissociation for those who made lower time estimates compared to those who made higher time estimate was not significant. In other words, when you have the music in the ambient sound, doesn't matter the range if it was higher in dissociation or lower estimate compared to those that were higher time estimate, it was pretty much similar. There wasn't much of a difference between one and the other. And the dissociation definitely is higher for individuals in ambient sound alone. So both hypotheses were validated in the experiment. The research design of this experiment was composed of the following factors. First, there was a 2 by 2 by 2 mixed factorial design. And the elements in that mixed factorial design was, as a repeated measure factor, we had the ambient casino sound, and the music with ambient casino sound. Between the subject factors, we had high volume, and that would be at 90 decibels, low volume at 60 decibels, fast tempo, that is beats per minute, at 140, or slow tempo at 100 beats per minute. Participants, or the sample of this experiment. 160 individuals participated in this experiment. All of them had played slots at least once in the last 6 months. The demographics of this sample was composed of 50% were males and 43% were females. 32% below 45 years old. 50% between 40 and 65 years old. 19% were older than 65 years old. 50% had a high school diploma, and 50% had pursued a higher education degree. 63% had no children at home. And out of all the males, 14.9% of the male universe of this sample and 24.6% of the female sample attested that they bet more that they can afford to lose. So that means that out of this sample, 14.9% of the males usually play more than they can afford to lose. And the females was even higher, the percentage. 24.6 of them usually bet more than what they can afford to lose. The experiment stimuli was composed of the following: casino ambient sound, and within the casino ambient sound you had slot machines, people talking, jackpot alarms going off, etc. What you typically will find on a casino ambient sound. Another factor of the stimuli was the music, which was overlaid the casino sound. The sound tempo was another factor, that is beats per minute. There were two tempos, fast at 140 beat per minute and slow at 100 beat per minute. And then the volume setting. There were two settings. High, and that was 90 decibels. That's what the sound is measured by. Or low at 60 decibels. The experiment procedure. The experiment was conducted in a room that simulated a casino slot area with dim lights, with rows of slot machines, with hidden speakers playing casino ambient sound recordings, with or without music overlay, at a high or a low volume, at a fast or a slow tempo. Players got to play in groups between 5 to 8 players. And the players got to play 2 sets of 10 minutes each. However, the players were not told for how long they will play. Players, once concluded those 10 minutes of play, they were given to answer an electronic questionnaire after each round of play. And they were tested, number one, to attest what they perceive was the time they play. Remember, they didn't know that they were going to play for 10 minutes. The latency of response, that is, how fast they will answer those questions. If they will think about it for a long time or they will immediately snap and answer. How long would that take, that response? And finally, the measure of dissociation, how disconnected they were from reality. The results of the experiment bring us back to the two hypotheses that we stated earlier as validated in the experiment. In here, we're going to touch them again, touch base with this hypothesis, but in very simple words. And this is what was validated with the hypothesis number one. The players that are exposed to ambient casino sound with music added to it at a high volume and a slow tempo are more likely to be able to determine more accurately the elapsed time by subconsciously keeping track of music intervals. So therefore, the players that are in a casino are listening to music, and the music is loud, and the tempo is slow. They will be able to keep track of time better than as stated on the second hypothesis that says players are exposed to ambient casino sound alone, regardless of the level of volume, whether it was high or low, and the speed of the tempo, whether it was fast or slow, are more likely to underestimate the amount of time spent gambling because they become more dissociated from reality. So, just to sum her up, if the players are exposed to music with casino ambient sound, and the volume is high and the tempo is slow, they'll keep track of time. On the other hand, if the players in a casino are not exposed to music combined with the casino ambient sound, regardless of the volume if it's high or low, or the tempo if it's fast or slow, those people are going to underestimate the amount of time spent gambling, and they are disengaged, disassociated from reality. SWOT analysis. In the strength area, the management clear understanding of which casino ambient sounds play a potential role in inducing players to play longer and stronger, it's of great importance. In other words, if management understands and has clear what kind of sounds could induce the players to play longer, they got a very, very valuable tool in their hands. The results of the study could help management to make better selection of their equipment, of their slot machines. Because these machines, they come with features that can contribute to the results of the study as far as how to induce players to play longer. Weaknesses that we found on this study, or as a result of this study, is that rather than having two 10-minute rounds of slot play in the experiment, that could have been extended for at least 20 minutes each. So that sample is a little bit more valid to my understanding. I don't think 10 minutes was enough. 20 minutes of play, and then stop them and ask them how long have they been playing, do the electronic questionnaire. To my understanding, it would have been a little bit more solid on the results of this experiment. The results prove the casino management could very well increase the potential for players' dissociation or disconnection of the reality of elapsed time spent playing at the slot machines. So that could be a weakness, depending how you look at it. Of course, the casino wants players to play longer, but if the casino abuse of this knowledge, it could end up with a bunch of players having a gambling problem in their hands. SWOT analysis, area of opportunities. Management could very well end up reconfiguring or redesigning casino floor layouts, sound systems on existing or soon to be new built casinos with the objective of ultimately increase the players' time in the slot machines. All this thanks to the knowledge of this experiment. Selecting a product that will contain the desired features, buying the right slot machines with the features that could help induce play or longer length of time by the player, it's a great advantage at the time going out there and shopping. And there is room for further research in this subject matter. I think this study, it's not totally conclusive. I think this study could be continued, and there is probably room to find out a few more things that could ultimately help a casino get more play time from their players. Now, the threats that to my understanding, this study, if anti-gaming lobbyist groups know of this study or get a hold of this study, I think they could very well use it to substantiate their arguments about how addictive slot machines are. So to my understanding, that's a threat. Now, strategic decisions made by the casino management based on the premise that the results of this study are conclusive and final may lead to possible errors in revenue forecasting or in their forecasting. I think this study, the sample of 10 minutes of play and the hours, this study was done just at one time. I think the sample could have been bigger, and test it in different timetables, even probably on a real casino scenario. So I don't think the study is that conclusive and final. And management of casinos that start making all their decisions based on this study, I think there is room for error. Now, in my analysis, I got three alternatives uh, that I present here. The first one is no further studies should be conducted on this subject matter, making this current study as a totally conclusive and final. My second alternative is to continue further research in this subject matter. And my third alternative is disregard the results of this study as conclusive under the following grounds: that the size of the sample was not big enough, the procedure was flawed regarding the use of non-real scenario to conduct the experiment, the time allotted to play was not long enough. Solution. I select alternative number 2, which is further research in this subject matter could very well lead to the validation of this study, original results, or it could very well lead to different conclusions that in turn will require further study. Why is it important? The results of this study could help management make some adjustments that would lead to an increment on the average length of time on device on the slot machine spent by the slot playing customer, by the slot player. So even though I feel this study it's not that conclusive, that there is room for more research, but the information in hand and the hypotheses validated, I think that's enough for management to be able to do some fine tuning and be able to get players to play longer on those machines. So it's a very important study, and it could be utilized by management to improve play time on machines and therefore to generate more revenue.